What do you do when everyone you know and love is dead, killed in a nuclear apocalypse that wipes out 99.9% of human life on Earth?
Play a children's card game, of course! This is the Yu-Gi-Oh universe after all. What else were you expecting? Hey, the apocalypse happened in the 5D's original timeline too, and they all still had decks and dual discs, so I think it makes sense that can happen in the timeline where card games didn't destroy the world, allegedly. But let's back up a bit. The human race is all but extinct, and even the spirit world wasn't saved from its wrath due to the two worlds being so intertwined. And obviously after a nuclear apocalypse, the Earth has seen better days. There are still places with shrubbery, but they're becoming few and far between. The human Sinyu and the spirit Kozaki are the last of their kinds. So the two work together to try to find a way to reverse this process. And several years later, Kozaki has made a breakthrough. He found a way to absorb all the negativity in the world and reverse it into positive energy and help restart the planet. He calls this device the Malefic Engine. Unfortunately, even with everything set up, the device just won't respond. Sinyu suggests that maybe he forgot to carry the two, but Kozaki says that he just isn't the right person to jumpstart the engine. Oh great, our one chance to save the Earth, and it's being picky. Or maybe Kozaki is just blood type AB positive.
Sinyu goes for a walk to get them more water as well as a bit more energy for their engines and experiments.
And grieve over all of his loved ones, especially the woman he loved all of his life and was going to ask out. But then, the apocalypse happened. The worst that could happen is she says no, they said. Sinyu returns to find the place a wreck. Life Force snatchers attacked while he was gone, stealing Kozaki's life force and all of their supplies. Everything but the Malefic Engine and Kozaki's Red Eyes Black Dragon card. With his dying breath, Kozaki gives both to Sinyu and tells him not to fear the darkness before collapsing, fading away into nothing but clothes on the ground. Sinyu goes into a rage and hunts down the snatchers, finding their leader in a forest, General Nova. Nova taunts Sinyu for being too useless to save everyone he cared about. In addition, he tells Sinyu that he was the one who took Kozaki's life force. Nova leads Sinyu to an area more fitting for dueling, and tells Sinyu the conditions of the duel. If he wins, then he takes Sinyu's life force, and the human race will be extinct. While for Sinyu, for every 1,000 life points he takes from Nova, Nova will tell him secrets that he may find very interesting.
And just what are those secrets? Go and watch the movie for yourself. I'm just an analysis. I ain't no Cliff Notes version.
Sinyu doesn't really care about that though. He cares about revenge, so he accepts the conditions of the duel. Now, as for Nova, the origin of the Life Force Snatchers is unknown, but we can assume the nuclear explosions played some part into it. Snatchers gain power by absorbing the life forces of other living beings. And Nova here has absorbed so much power that he's become a general. Now he's after Sinyu, the last human on Earth, and with his extermination, Snatchers will become the new dominant life form on Earth, and Nova will rule over all of them as their king. No, their god. That's enough background. Thank you, Gungnir, for suggesting this duel. Now let's quit our stalling and get brawling. The duel begins and Sinyu goes first. He draws his opening hand, which consists of Twin-Headed Behemoth, Cosmic Flare, Stardust Flash, Red Eyes Black Dragon, and Snowman Eater. He sets his Twin-Headed Behemoth face down, sets his Stardust Flash, and ends his turn. It's Nova's turn. He draws, and his opening hand contains Force Resonator, Red Warg, Forbidden Lance, Chain Resonator, Red Familiar, and Barrier Resonator. He starts by normal summoning Force Resonator. He then immediately activates his Red Warg's effect from his hand. Since he normal summoned a Resonator monster, he can special summon Red Warg to the field, though its attack points are halved. He then tunes his level 6 Red Warg with his level 2 Force Resonator to synchro summon level 8 Red Dragon Archfiend. He then has Red Dragon Archfiend destroy Twin-Headed Behemoth.
Nova then sets Forbidden Lance face down and ends his turn.
During the end phase though, Twin-Headed Behemoth's effect activates. Since it was destroyed on the field and went to the graveyard, Sinyu can special summon it back to the field with only 1,000 attack and defense points. It's Sinyu's turn. He draws and gets Chunk Changer. He normal summons Chunk Changer. He then has his level 3 Chunk Changer tune his level 3 Twin-Headed Behemoth to synchro summon his ace monster, the level 6 Stardust Charge Warrior. Stardust Charge Warrior's effect activates. Since it was Synchro Summoned, Sinyu can draw one card from his deck. He does and gets Megamorph. Sinyu then activates his quick play spell card Cosmic Flare by targeting a Stardust monster, like Charge Warrior. If it battles an opponent's monster, that opponent's monster will be shuffled back into the deck at the start of the damage step. Sinyu orders Charge Warrior to attack Red Dragon Archfiend. However, before the damage step happens, Nova reveals his face down card, the quick play spell card Forbidden Lance. He targets Red Dragon Archfiend, and while it loses 800 attack points, it's now unaffected by the effects of other spell and trap cards until the end of the turn. So Red Dragon Archfiend is able to fight back and destroy Charge Warrior, as well as inflict sparks damage to Sinyu. Sinyu ends his turn, and Lance wears off. It's Nova's turn. He draws and gets Red Dragon Vase. He activates it. Since he controls a Red Dragon Archfiend, he can draw 2 more cards, but he can't normal or special summon for the remainder of the turn. He draws and gets Compulsory Evacuation Device and Red Rain. Nova orders Dragon to attack directly, dealing 3,000 points of damage to Sinyu. Nova taunts Sinyu like a cat would, teasing its prey. He then sets Compulsory Evacuation Device and Red Rain face down to end his turn. It's Sinyu's turn. He draws and gets Ancient Rules. He begins by activating his face down card, Stardust Flash, which can special summon 1 Stardust monster from his graveyard. So he revives Stardust Charge Warrior. After that, he activates the spell card Ancient Rules, letting him special summon a level 5 or higher normal monster from his hand. He special summons a card entrusted to him by his friend Kosaki, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. He then equips Megamorph onto the Red Eyes. Now, since Sinyu's life points are lower than Nova's, Red Eyes' attack points are doubled. He orders Red Eyes to attack Red Dragon Archfiend. Unfortunately for Sinyu, Nova activates his trap card, Compulsory Evacuation Device. With this card's effect, he targets Red Eyes, and thus returns it to Sinyu's hand. Megamorph is also destroyed because of this. Annoyed, Sinyu normal sets his Snowman Eater in face down defense position before ending his turn. It's Nova's turn. He draws and gets Red Resonator. He normal summons Chain Resonator, and since it was summoned while Synchro Monsters on the field, he can special summon another Resonator monster from his deck. So he special summons Dark Resonator. He then double tunes his level 8 Red Dragon Archfiend using his level 1 Chain Resonator and level 3 Dark Resonator to Synchro summon level 12 Red Nova Dragon. Red Nova gains 500 attack points for each tuner monster in Nova's grave. He has 3, Chain, Dark, and Force Resonator, meaning Red Nova's attack points become 5,000. Nova orders Red Nova to attack Stardust Charge Warrior. The attack connects, and Sinyu takes 3,000 points of damage. Nova ends his turn. It's Sinyu's turn. He draws and gets Pot of Desires. He activates it, banishing the top 10 cards of his deck face down to draw 2 new cards. He gets Magic Cylinder and Hope for Escape. He places Magic Cylinder and Hope for Escape face down and ends his turn. It's Nova's turn. He draws and gets Solemn Judgment. He normal summons Red Resonator and uses the effect, letting him special summon a level 4 or lower monster from his hand. So he special summons Red Familiar. He then has his level 2 Red Resonator tune his level 4 Red Familiar to Synchro summon level 6 Red Rising Dragon. Red Rising's effect activates. When it's Synchro summoned, he can revive 1 Resonator monster from his graveyard, but was locked to only summoning Dark Dragon Synchro monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. He revives Red Resonator. Red Resonator's other effect activates. Since it was special summoned, Nova can target a face-up monster on the field and gain life points equal to the target's current attack points. He targets Red Nova, and thus gains 5,000 life points. He's not done there though. Now he has his level 2 Red Resonator tune his level 6 Red Rising Dragon to Synchro summon level 8 Scarred Red Dragon Archfiend. Also, since Red Resonator is in the graveyard, Red Nova gains another 500 attack points, bringing it at 5,500. And just to address the elephant in the room, if you're wondering why Scarred Dragon Archfiend looks weird, the script was written before Scarred was officially produced, and the card art was made, and all that extra stuff. We knew of the card, we just didn't have the art or official renders and stuff with all the background. So Gungnir kind of hodgepodge his own little hybrid of the monsters. So yeah, just addressing that in case you were wondering. Not too shabby for a Praxi, if I do say so for myself, and I do. Anyway, Nova commands Scarred Dragon Archfiend to attack Sinyu set Snowman Eater. Snowman Eater is destroyed, but since it was flipped face up, Sinyu can destroy one monster in the field, so he destroyed Scarred Dragon right back. Misplayed to Sinyu. He should have destroyed the Red Nova Dragon instead. I know you have Magic Cylinder face down, you want to wipe that smug look off of Nova's face to gain 5,000 life points, only to immediately lose them all over again with interest. But even after you do that, you'll still have a 5,000 attack monster who can negate attacks to deal with. So yeah, I see your logic, but it's still an overall misplay in my opinion. Back to the duel. Nova isn't bothered by Scarred's destruction though, because when Scarred Dragon leaves the field, Nova can special summon a Red Dragon Archfiend
from his extra deck.
And this is treated as a synchro summon. So he synchro summons a second copy of Red Dragon Archfiend. Oh look, a Yu-Gi-Oh character that runs multiple copies of a card in his extra deck. Now that's a rarity. Nova orders Red Dragon to attack Sinyu directly. However, Sinyu activates his two face-down cards, Magic Cylinder and Hope for Escape. So, in reverse chain order, Hope for Escape has Sinyu pay 1,000 life points so he can draw one card for every 2,000 points of difference between him and Nova. The difference right now is 12,200, so Sinyu gets to draw 6 cards, which are Junk Defender, Junk Anchor, Forbidden Chalice, Shrink, Negate Attack, and Reasoning. Next, Magic Cylinder resolves, so Archfiend's attack is negated, and Nova takes damage equal to its attack, meaning he takes 3,000 points of damage to the face! Nova congratulates Sinyu for finally doing some damage to him. After all, at least he'll die fighting instead of dying hiding. He orders Nova to attack Sinyu directly for game! However, since he's attacking directly, Sinyu can use Jump Defender's effect from his hand, letting him special summon it in defense mode. Nova, for some reason, chooses not to attack, instead setting his Solemn Judgment face down and ending his turn. And now I have to give a misplay to Nova, because he could have chosen to at least destroy the Defender. I imagine behind the scenes there was a simple mistake of not knowing Defender doesn't negate attacks, or just needing Sinyu to have a monster on the field for the next turn. I do have a bit of in-universe justification though. Perhaps Nova chose to let Sinyu keep it on the field for the sake of a more entertaining duel. After all, you seem to be enjoying giving Sinyu a hope for comeback, only to take it away again with a single move. Actually, that's a bit of a theme of the film. Sinyu keeps building up hope, but life keeps taking it away from him. Right, I'm analyzing the duel. The point is, Nova is like a cat playing with its food, giving it hope before snuffing it out. So if letting Sinyu keep Defender on the field will allow him to keep doing that, then so be it. But yeah, it's still a misplay, so let's get back to the action. It's Sinyu's turn. He draws and gets Level Eater. He normal summons Junk Anchor. He then has level 2 Junk Anchor tune his level 3 Junk Defender to synchro summon level 5 Junk Speeder. He does not use its first effect, which is a misplay because he could have summoned Quick Draw Synchro from his deck and just provide him with some defense. But, you know, maybe he's got tunnel vision in this one. He wants to save Quick Draw Synchro for later and use Junk Speeder for its second effect, which he's going to do. Regardless, though, Sinyu still has a plan. He orders Junk Speeder to attack Red Nova. General Nova laughs at the insanity and chooses not to have Nova negate the attack. Now Junk Speeder's other effect activates. Now, since it was synchro summoned and is attacking another monster, its attack points are doubled until the end of the turn. Sinyu isn't done there, though. He activates 2 quick play spell cards, Shrink and Forbidden Chalice. Chalice will negate Red Nova's effect and reduce its attack points down to 3,900. Then Shrink cuts Nova's original attack points in half to 1,750. The Chalice's boost still kicks in though, so Red Nova gains another 400 attack points due to Chalice's effect, putting its attack points at 2,150. Which is still lower than Junk Speeder's at the moment. Nova, however, decides to snuff out that spark of hope as well. He activates the drop card Red Rain! Now, since he controls level 8 or higher synchro monster, all monsters on the field are banished except for the one with the highest level on the field, and the remaining monsters become immune to other card effects except their own until the end of the turn. So the second Red Dragon Archfiend and Junk Speeder go while Red Nova remains. Depressed by this, Sinyu sets Negate attack face down and ends his turn. Probably should have activated those quick play spell cards during the damage step, Sinyu, because if he did, Nova wouldn't be able to activate Red Rain since it doesn't alter attack or defense stats. Now granted, that was probably just an error in the scripting, but I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt and just say Sinyu misplayed. Also, probably should have used your reasoning spell there. I mean, it's a good thing you did it before you attacked, otherwise you would have gone to waste. But you could also have used it in your main phase too, but I guess you figured negate attack was enough, so you want to like save your reasoning for a combo next turn. So, well, I personally would rather have the monster in the field as well. I guess I'll let you off with a warning this time, because after all, Nova could guess right, and then you're just down on reasoning, I guess. Regardless, it's Nova's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Synchron Resonator. He then normal summons a tuner monster, Barrier Resonator, from his hand. Next, since there's a Synchro monster in the field, he can special summon the level 1 tuner monster, Synchron Resonator. Finally, since he controls a level 8 or higher Synchro monster, he can special summon Creation Resonator from his hand. Sinyu asks the €1,000,000 question. Why summon all these monsters? Only for Nova to respond by doing a massive flex. I was going to call it the ultimate flex, but then I remembered Table 500 exists, and that table was nothing but flexing. Anyway, Nova activates Red Familiar's effect in the graveyard. By banishing it, he can target a Dark Dragon Synchro monster he controls, then declare a level between 1 and 8. The targeted monster will become that level until the end of the turn. Nova targets his Red Nova and declares level 7. Finally, he has his level 1 Barrier Resonator, his level 1 Synchron Resonator, and level 3 Creation Resonator. Triple tune his level 7 Red Nova Dragon in order to Synchro Summon. Now, since he Synchro summoned a Dark Dragon monster, Nova can add Red Rain from his graveyard to his hand, which he does. He does not use Synchron's other effect to add a tuner from his graveyard to his hand. Why not? Because Supernova has the same power boost effect as Red Nova, and with 8 tuners now residing in his graveyard, its attack points are 8,000! He declares himself the ruler of this new world, and orders Supernova to wipe Sinyu off the face of this world. Sinyu responds though by activating his set negate attack, which is self-explanatory, so moving on, Nova sets Red Rain face down and ends his turn. It's Sinyu's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets a second pot of desires. He activates it, banishing another 10 cards to draw 2 more cards. He gets Malefic Paradox Gear and Malefic World. Sinyu then activates Reasoning. Now Nova declares 1 level, and Sinyu will flip over cards from the top of his deck until he gets a monster that can be summoned. If the level of the monster matches the level that Nova declared, that monster goes straight to the graveyard. If not, Sinyu can special summon it. Nova declares level 8, and Sinyu gets a level 5 Junk Collector. Thus, it's special summoned. He then uses Junk Collector's effect by banishing it in a normal trap in his graveyard, in this case Hope for Escape. He can apply that banished trap card's effect, cost free, since the difference between their life points is 9,200. Sinyu draws 4 cards. He gets Change of Heart, Mystical Space Typhoon, Quick Draw Synchron, and Synchro Boost. Sinyu then activates the Change of Heart spell card to try and steal Supernova. With no other option, Nova activates his trap, Solemn Judgment. He pays half his life points to negate and destroy Sinyu's Change of Heart. Technically, he could have used that card a lot earlier, but I get why he's silent. Paying half your life points is a pretty steep cost, so best to save it for when it's an absolute emergency, like right there and then. So not a misplay in my eyes. With that plan failed, Sinyu activates Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy Red Rain, which it does. He then discards the monster Level Eater to special summon the tuner monster Quick Draw Synchron. He then uses Level Eater's effect. By reducing a level 5 or higher monster's level by 1, it can be special summoned. So Quick Draw Synchron becomes level 4, and Level Eater crawls onto the field. He then has a level 4 Quick Draw Synchron tune his level 1 Level Eater to Synchro Summon his last hope, Jet Warrior! And on Synchro Summon, Jet Warrior's special ability activates, letting Sinyu target 1 card Nova controls and return it to his hand. He targets Supernova in order to return it to the extra deck. Unfortunately, the cat named Nova corners Sinyu for the final time. He uses Supernova's effect. Since an opponent's monster effect activated, Supernova can now banish itself in all cards Sinyu controls, and Supernova will return on Nova's next end phase. With all hope gone, Sinyu sinks into despair, and Nova taunts Sinyu one last time. But there's one saying that Nova clearly never heard of. A cornered rat will bite the cat! Giving into his rage and despair, Sinyu lets the darkness in his heart take over, basically going, "Fuck card games! Fuck this whole stinking planet! And especially, fuck you!" he activates the field spell Malefic World. He then follows that up by normal summon the Malefic Paradox Gear. He then uses its effect. By tributing it, he can special summon the tuner monster or Malefic Parallel Gear from his deck, as well as add a Malefic monster from his deck to his hand. And he chooses the Malefic Red Eyes Black Dragon. He then equips Parallel Gear with Synchro Boost, giving it 1 extra level as well as 500 more attack points. Stepping back in fear, Nova demands to know just what Sinyu is, and Sinyu declares himself to be the truth of this world. He then has his level 3 Parallel Gear, tune his level 7 Malefic Red Eyes Black Dragon. In his hand, he synchro summons
mein niederträchtigen Paradox-Drachen.
Upon synchro summon, Paradox Dragon's effect activates. It can target 1 synchro monster in either player's graveyard and special summon it, so Sinyu revives Nova's Red Nova Dragon. And yes, the screen says 4,000, but Sinyu actually has 4 tuners in the graveyard, so its attack is actually 5,500. Unless Sinyu's only counting the Malefic tuner because he's starting a new life or something. Let's not get into that, we're at the end of the duel right now anyway. Nova says that this is impossible, as he is Annihilation, but Sinyu corrects him, because after this attack, he'll only be annihilated! He attacks Nova directly with Red Nova, winning this duel and avenging everyone he's loved. So could Nova have defeated Sinyu? Honestly, I'm gonna say yes, because if he had just attacked Junk Defender, then on the next turn, Sinyu can still summon the Junk Anchor, but then has to discard a card in order to bring back Junk Defender and make Jet Warrior. And since Sinyu uses up all of the cards in his hand in his last turn, there's not really a card he can afford to discard if he wants to go for the win in the end. But to be fair, at the end of the day, that's the only real opening I could find, and it's part of Nova's character to be playing with his food and all that stuff, and like, screwing with Sinyu and being an overall jerk. And having a character is never a misplay, although he did make a misplay that ultimately cost him the duel in the end. But other than that, Sinyu played to the best of his abilities, and ultimately was in control of the duel the entire time. Also, if Nova had not used Red Nova to make Super Nova, then Paradox Dragon would just bring back a Red Dragon Archfiend. Although, to be fair, again, Nova loses in that scenario too, because then Sinyu could just attack with both monsters directly. So, yeah. But he wouldn't be OTK'd immediately by Red Nova Dragon. But, also to be fair to Nova, he thinks it's the final turn of the duel. And obviously in the final turn of the duel, when your opponent has basically no cards on the field or in the hand, you combo for 8 hours, because what are you gonna do? Just attack directly for game? No. That's when you overextend. Duh. But now, with the Malefic engine now up and running, Sinyu plans to go back in time to kill the 3 legendary duelists from his timeline. Wish him luck, folks. He's gonna need it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Did you notice any misplays that I missed? Let me know in the comment section below, and be sure to check out Gungnir's channel. He's making some nice Yu-Gi-Oh content lately, and is slowly moving up in the community. Link to his channel in the description. But with all that said, thank you all for watching, and you're up, Shidong.